We are following this breaking news. The International Criminal Court moments ago announced it is seeking arrest warrants for the leaders of Hamas for the October 7th terrorist attack in Israel, and also seeking arrest warrants for the political and military leadership of the State of Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, Hamas's top political and military leaders also being sought for crimes against humanity, all named just now. CNN's chief international anchor, Christiane Amanpour, has this exclusive interview with the special prosecutor at the International Criminal Court, Karim Khan, who announced it to her just moments ago. And she's joining us right now from The Hague. Christiane, tell us more about what you've learned.
Well, Kate, we broke this earlier on CNN some 20 minutes ago. It is an incredibly important turning point in this war since Hamas invaded parts of Israel, slaughtered so many people, took so many hostages, and in the aftermath since Israel went to war against Hamas and has caused so many civilian casualties, and what international officials say starvation and famine also imposed. So these form the basis of the ICC charges, and they are now seeking warrants, seeking arrest warrants that will have to be approved by a panel of independent judges here. I am at the ICC based on these things that I told you. And here are the crimes. There are some 8 crimes, charges alleged on both sides, starting with Hamas because of the timeline, obviously. October 7th was what Hamas did. Here's what he told me. We're here at the ICC. You are today announcing that you are applying for arrest warrants for top military and political leadership in the Israel-Gaza war since the October 7th events. First and foremost, explain to me exactly what you're asking for and who you are charging.
Today, Christiane, we've applied for warrants to the pretrial chamber of the International Criminal Court in relation to 3 individuals that are Hamas members. Sinwar, who's in charge on the ground.
That's Yahya Sinwar?
Absolutely. Daif, who's in charge of the Al-Qassam Brigade, and Hania, who's one of their political bureau based in Doha.
What are the charges?
The charges are extermination, murder, taking of hostages, rape and sexual assault in detention. So these are the key crimes that are alleged to have been committed by these 3 individuals. The world was shocked on the 7th of October when people were ripped from their bedrooms, from their homes, from the different kibbutzim in Israel. And people have suffered enormously, and we have a variety of evidence to support the applications that we've submitted to the judges.
You have also issued warrants against the top political and military leadership of the government of the State of Israel.
We've applied for warrants. Of course, the judges must determine whether or not to issue them, but we've applied today, we'll apply for warrants for Prime Minister Netanyahu and also Minister of Defense Gallant for the crimes of causing extermination, causing starvation as a method of war, including the denial of humanitarian relief supplies, deliberately targeting civilians in conflict.
So what you're hearing is the layout of the crimes. So it is crimes against humanity and war crimes. And in addition, the prosecutor has said, just so that everybody understands, that he has issued this request for arrest warrants based on the reasonable belief on grounds that these are criminal offenses that can meet a conviction standard. It's not just reasonable grounds that they could go to trial. This is higher, the standard of conviction based on the evidence that he and his teams have collected so far and that are in the public domain.
Christiane, Sarah here. A couple of things. One, I wanted to ask you just about the unprecedented nature that this is, I think, the first time that a democratic government has been brought under these potential warrants, and how they've gone about gathering evidence when getting into Gaza is very, very difficult.
So on the first issue, I put that to Prosecutor Karim Khan, obviously, and I said this is the first time that this has happened in a democratic situation when we're talking about the Israeli side. And he said that is true. And if Israel were to take this up, or had taken it up, the judicial system, when we first warned about this months ago, then they would have jurisdiction. If they choose to do so now, they will have jurisdiction. So that's clear. He said that they have not chosen to do such a thing, even though, as he said to me, and he said it publicly, that when I warned at all these international conferences, when I warned in my face-to-face meetings with Israeli officials that this is the warning, aid is not getting through, starvation is setting in, people are dying, that don't complain if then my office does something about it if you don't. So that's on that issue. And then on the other issue of evidence, part of it is in the public domain. Part of it is what's been reported over and again. Part of it is what's been said. And I'm talking about Israel now. Obviously, we're going to get to the Hamas thing. It's important to know that in the prosecutor's timeline, in his indictment sheet, and you'll see on the press release, they listed the crimes that they are charging Hamas with on October 7th, and we'll get to that in a second. But since you're asking me about the unprecedented nature of a democracy being so charged, they go back to Yoav Gallant, because don't forget, Yoav Gallant, Defense Minister of Israel, has also been charged, and they, among others, see as intent his statement on October the 9th. We are imposing a complete siege. There will be no electricity, no food, no water, no fuel. Everything is closed. We are fighting human animals, and we will act accordingly. Netanyahu, October 13th. We will exact a price that will be remembered by them and Israel's other enemies for decades to come. Now, that's part of it. The other part is all the physical and other testimony by U.S. officials, let's say USAID, by international aid organizations, the UN and all the others, by the very fact that the United States has had to build some pier on the side of Gaza, and some countries have had to drop aid in, that the demand for aid going in is not happening. And this is the basis of the majority of the case against Israel at the moment, that this is, no matter, as he explained, Israel, of course, has the right under any statute to defend itself from attack, but has to protect civilians. And this is something the United States has been calling for from the very beginning, as well as many, many others of Israel's allies. So they believe that that has not been adhered to, that aid has not gone in, that famine in enough bulk, that famine is there in some parts, and that there have been deaths by starvation and malnutrition-related diseases. Now, and they've had many conversations, the prosecutor tells me, with officials inside Israel on this. Now, on the other side, regarding Hamas, the prosecutor has been to the areas inside Israel which were attacked by Hamas, the kibbutzim, the site of the rave party, the Nova party. He has been there, he's talked to people, talked about, and to hostage families, and he also has seen the evidence that was on all sorts of videos, all sorts of body cams that has been provided, certainly in the public domain, but also by the Israeli government, regarding the crimes committed by Hamas on October the 7th. So they have that amount of evidence that has been sufficient, they say, for this round of arrest warrants and charges. And they say that they will continue to investigate, and this may not be the end of it. So let's just again, sum up. On the Hamas side, Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas, mostly military. Mohammed al-Masri, who's better known as Mohammed Deif, his deputy, head of the military wing of Hamas, the Al-Qassam brigades, and Ismail Haniyeh, the head of political arm of Hamas, who frankly is involved in negotiations currently, indirect negotiations between Hamas and Israel regarding the release of Israeli hostages and the capture of Israeli hostages. The sexual offenses and violations and rapes by Hamas also form part of these crimes against humanity that are being sought on arrest warrants for Hamas.